So welcome to another session on concepts of classification of organisms for the first semester PhD zoology programs. And in this presentation, we will be looking into taxonomy and systematics and distinction between systematics and taxonomy. So what is taxonomy? Taxonomy is a term that was introduced by Professor D. Cantor in 1813, specifically for the theoretical study of plant classification. The taxonomy, the term comes from two Greek terms, taxis and nomos. The taxis means arrangement and nomos means law. And Ernst Mayr in 1971 gave the definition for taxonomy, which says that it is the theory and practice of classifying organisms. Very simple, but the whole concept of taxonomy is it's a theoretical practice. Okay, so it is a theoretical study of classification, practice of classifying organisms, and there are different branches of taxonomy. That is classical taxonomy. It is simply the morphological taxonomy. That is classifying and naming organisms based upon the morphology and anatomy of the species under study. Chemotaxonomy, as the name suggests, it is the chemical molecules, the biomolecules which are used for classifying the organisms. So those organisms which do have similar biomolecules, obviously they belong to the same cluster group, isn't it? So it is otherwise known as biochemical taxonomy. Cytotaxonomy, cyto means cell, isn't it? So here what we do is, it is chromosomes which we study for classifying the organisms. So the similarity of chromosome structure, chromosome number, all those features are being studied for classifying the organisms under cytotaxonomy. Numerical taxonomy, we have already seen what is it. It is based upon the assessment of similarities and differences. And we have already seen how the numerical taxonomy is done, phonetics, isn't it? Then molecular taxonomy, it is based on the analysis of the nucleotide sequences. So it is far at the molecular level as compared with the cytotaxonomy. Okay. So it is nucleotide sequences which we study, and then modern technology is used for the molecular taxonomic classification. Now, serotaxonomy, it is based upon, it is a type of, we can say it is a type of what you call the chemotaxonomy, and it is based on the analysis of the blood serum of the animals. Okay. So these are the different branches of taxonomy, and we will be looking into in detail in the future presentations. Okay. Now, what are the different stages in taxonomy? Actually, the taxonomy never happens in a single step. Okay, it occurs in different steps. These different steps may not be distinguishable, but obviously this is how we progress in classifying and naming organisms. The first stage in taxonomy is the alpha taxonomy, and here the species it is described and named. Okay, so it is the first stage that involves naming and describing a species. The next stage, what we do is, after the naming and description is completed, we place a particular species in a category. Okay, so in the hierarchical system of classification. So beta taxonomy is the second stage of taxonomy, in which the species are arranged in the natural hierarchical system of classification. Okay, so what we do is, like we have described a species systematically, we have named it as Cytophilus oryzae. Okay, and then what we do is, since we do have the type specimen, we have described it, we have named it, and then we place it. Okay, we have already studied the detail, and based upon the detail we have the information. What we do is, okay, because it belongs to insecta. Okay, it belongs to arthropoda, and in the arthropoda it belongs to insecta, and under the insecta it is a coleoptera. Okay, so we place it. You're getting arthropoda, it is phylum category, insecta it is class insecta, and coleoptera it is order coleoptera. So I hope it is clear. Okay, so we place it in a hierarchical system, okay, category wise. Then the final stage is the gamma taxonomy. Obviously, when we study the basic taxonomical studies, when we take up gamma taxonomy, we may not reach the gamma taxonomical level. Usually, what we do is alpha and the beta level. Okay, gamma taxonomy is the higher stage in the taxonomy study, and it involves the study of intraspecific, interspecific relations, similarities, Then the interspecific evolutionary relations or phylogenetic relations are all studied, and based upon that, the classification is made concrete. Okay, so that is the different stages in taxonomy: alpha, beta, and gamma. Okay, the next concept is systematics. So systematics, it is a little broader than taxonomy. It is a scientific study of the kinds and diversity of organisms and of any and all relationships among them. So it is not only taxonomy, but it is far broader than taxonomy. So it is something more than taxonomy. So systematics is actually, uh, it includes classification or taxonomy plus maybe like evolution, phylogeny, and any other such kind of interrelationships among the species. So all these are included in systematics. Okay, this is a proper definition which was given by Simpson in 1961. So what is the importance of systematics? So we have already mentioned systematics involve naming, describing, classifying, study of evolution, phylogeny, etc. Isn't it? So what is the importance of systematics? Systematics in the field of biodiversity and conservation. Unless we come to know about the presence of a particular species or taxon on the earth, we may not be able to conserve it. Okay, so initially we need to understand the diversity. Okay, how many different species are existing on the earth? What all are they? What kind of habitat they are found in? Okay, so unless we know all these details, we may not be able to conserve the species. We cannot just take out the species and put it in a cage and conserve it. We have to, if we have to conserve, we have to conserve their habitat. Okay, so we have to know the systematics. So taxonomy is not enough; it has to be systematics. Okay, interrelationship means, for example, if you are speaking about an insect in a habitat, what is the role of the insect? Whether it is a what you call sapropod, what you call the predator, or it is a herbivore, whether it depends upon plants as insect collector, nectar collector, whether it is a pollinator, whether it is a decomposer, does it have a role in decomposition? So all these are being studied. Okay, so that kind of an interrelationship between the other members of the ecosystem. Okay, so this is important for conservation. Now in medicine, obviously, when we learn about the biodiversity, when we know the interrelationships, if, for example, if in the case of plants and all, if you study in detail about a particular plant, what kind of alkaloids they produce, what all kinds of what you call chemicals are there, biochemical molecules are there in that plant or leaf. Okay, how it can be used for medical purpose. So that can be actually manipulated. Okay. Then we have is the in agriculture and pest management. Obviously, if we know the role of a particular insect in the ecosystem, whether it is a herbivore, whether it is going to be a pest, whether it is a predator of the pest. So all those things can be employed. Okay, so pest management, right? It can be used in agriculture. In quarantine, okay, this particular term is you may have been more familiar in this particular time period. Quarantine with respect to what you call normal. This one, it is like from country to country. Usually, uh, when a plant material or an animal material is being transported or is being shipped, what happens is a quarantine. It has to pass through a quarantine mechanism. Okay, so in the quarantine mechanism, what happens is we test for or the particular material, whether it is plant or animal material, it is being tested for the presence of uh, maybe like if it is plant, seeds of any unwanted material or new. Uh, you may have known that these what you call Lantana camera or um, even the there are plenty of other invasive plants. Okay, where do they come? Where did they come from? They came from some other nations, isn't it? Outside foreign countries. But what happened when it came here? It started to flourish, isn't it? It started to outcompete with the native plants, taking up their resources, taking up the the habitats of the native plants, destroying their habitat, destroying even the native plants, isn't it? Making them more endangered and extinct. So what happens is uh, how if we had any quarantine checking of the what we call uh, plant and animal sources through which they had come, these particular invasive plants have come. Obviously, when if we have prevented that kind of a entry, we would not have come into such a kind of a situation here now. Okay, so that is actually important. Quarantine is important, and for quarantine to happen, what happens? We need to know which particular species is present in which part. For example, some of the species are found only in a particular part of the world. Isn't it? Some are found only in certain other parts. So we need to know the distribution. We need to know where all these species are present, etc. Okay, what is the role of the particular species, etc. Now, in understanding phylogeny, interrelationships as well as among and between different kinds of species. So these are the the role of systematics in different phases of the biology. I hope it is